Hi, and welcome to another episode of Nappy Changing and Brand Building with me, Laura Crawford, founder and CEO of Mama Bamboo. And today I am delighted to be joined by Gordon Dowall-Potter, who is the founder of MANtenatal. Now, MANtenatal differs from traditional antenatal and pregnancy courses, which primarily focus on the mother, in that they actually focus on the vital role that dads and partners can play in supporting the birthing mother through the pregnancy and into the early stages of parenthood. So it's absolutely delightful to have you on, Gordon. Thank you so much for making the time to speak to us.
Laura, thank you for inviting me. It means a lot, and I'm looking forward to our chat.
So am I, actually, because I really feel like this is a conversation and a service that is long overdue in the marketplace, actually. It's an incredibly important role that the fathers and the partners of a pregnant person play in helping to establish a positive birth experience, a positive family dynamic. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, actually. To get us started, I would love to know a little bit more about you and your background and really what inspired you to start MANtenatal.
I'm a father of four. I have 2 girls and 2 boys, and they arrived in the order of girl, boy, girl, boy. 2 were vaginal births and 2 were C-sections, and I was in the room for every single birth. On top of that, my sister's also a midwife. So I like to think that I've got the t-shirt, and I've definitely got stories and advice to share. But I guess the catalyst behind MANtenatal was I attended, you mentioned like that traditional antenatal course. You mentioned that in the kind of intro. And we attended not 1 but 2 quite famous antenatal courses that cost quite a bit of money. We made friends for life. There was definitely some real positives there. But I came away on 2 separate occasions thinking that 99% of the content is focused on mum, and it absolutely should be. But there's so little there that genuinely prepares the guys to step into that role of fatherhood, other than being taught how to dismantle a breast pump or how to give mum a massage with a tennis ball. And I felt there, like you say, there's a gap that's overdue, and it's time to fix that. So that's where MANtenatal came from.
I think that's brilliant. And that is so accurate, actually, that I attended one of those well-known courses, and it was very much focused on mum. It was very much focused on just the birth, actually, not even really what motherhood was going to mean or what parenthood was going to mean later. It really does just focus up until the birth and then kind of leaves you in a void, to be honest. So it's fascinating that actually MANtenatal has come about to answer those questions and those concerns that actually the dads and the partners have that maybe they don't want to raise during those very female-focused events. In addition to the kind of practical advice that comes with pregnancy, what other things, though, because there's more to MANtenatal than just the kind of the course, isn't there? What other things is MANtenatal addressing?
Probably the biggest one, if I was to rank them in a bit of an order, I think the biggest one is the mental health side as well, where one of the things we talk about, Laura, is that absolutely nothing is taboo. And we create these, some would call it a community, but at MANtenatal we call it squads. So we have these global squads of guys that are literally as far away as New Zealand and the States and Canada, right? As well as obviously Europe, etc. And these digital squads allow guys to support each other 24/7. So we've got the stories where guys are awake at say 2 a.m. and really struggling, and they can reach out to their squad members who've all been through MANtenatal and say, anyone else awake? Anyone else got advice and hints and tips? And what's lovely really about it, Laura, is that there's no judgment, right? And everyone's trying to help each other. And the other thing is we make it honest that you're going to make mistakes. It's normal, right? And I've made loads of mistakes. I continue to make mistakes, but we get rid of these taboos and myths. And I think it makes a massive difference. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things, isn't it? There is no manual for pregnancy or parenthood. There are various books, but actually everyone's experience is slightly different and will be based on their family dynamic, their background, their own childhood, their own lessons of what their parents did. Everybody's take on it is slightly different. And it's brilliant to have a community that you can raise these questions in. I did notice that you use a Discord community, don't you? Now, for those that don't know, a Discord community is a peer-to-peer support group that's all online. So you're using that platform at the moment. Have you got a massive take-up on that platform then because of the support that is available there?
It's growing, like, honestly, like week on week, the numbers just keep going up, because what it allows is it allows dads to have support 24/7 in their pocket. So you're not always going to be in that perfect place where you can literally pick up the phone and have a chat. You can get your phone out, send a message into our Discord, and there'll be someone somewhere ready to help you. One of my favorite things about it is that we've also got it broken down into channels. So guys can go in and say, look, I want to talk about mental health. You can have, there's fun dad stuff in there. There's jokes in there. There's also recommended products where dads say, do you know what? I found this product where my baby's socks don't slip off during the night, and he'll put like a little link in for other dads to go and get it. One other example I give you, we had one guy reach out and say, look, my wife's suffering from sciatica. Any hints, tips, guidance? And another dad said, here's a pillow that we bought that made a massive difference, and just put the link in for him. And it's organic now, and we don't have to do anything. It just keeps growing.
That's brilliant, actually, because yes, a recommendation from another parent is worth its weight in gold, I've got to say. So in order to join the groups and get into the communities, do most people start with one of your courses, and how are those courses available?
Yep. So the majority that are in there at the moment have all been through the MANtenatal course. So we've got kind of two avenues. We've got the WhatsApp groups where we put all the squads who are on the same course together. So we keep that little squad tight. And then we've got the global squads, which we kind of do through the Discord, which anyone can go in and join. You can go in today, right? In terms of accessing the courses, we have 3 different formats. So we're trying to cater for everyone. And guys, you've got no excuse, right? So we have, all of it's digital. If you wanted to join a live group course with about 10 to 15 other dads, those are available, and they only take 2 nights to complete. We don't ask you to read any books. You give us 2 nights of your life on Zoom, and you watch your confidence go through the roof. And one of my favorite things that happens quite often, Laura, is as we're talking to the dads, and we're tough, right? We don't pull our punches. We tell them it's hard. We tell them they got to step up. Mum's hand that creeps into the camera and puts her thumb up to say thank you. Someone's finally told them. So mums benefit from this as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the live group option. We've also got private one-to-ones where, again, it's just 2 nights, but there's no one else in the room. So we can talk about your specific story. And we've had celebs in there. We've had people who've experienced loss that say, look, it's just too sensitive to sit in that room with everyone super excited when the dad's sitting there really, really worried, making sure every day things keep moving along, right? So we cater for that as well. And then finally, the one that's like super scalable is we've created a fully on-demand option. So guys can literally download these little like Netflix videos, these little modules. They're about 10 minutes each. And you can watch them anytime you want, as many times as you want. And you get access for 6 months. So we've got that as well. So there you go.
That's brilliant. There's so many options. Yeah, as you say, there is no excuse for not taking up one of them. And you mentioned there that this is brilliant for the dads and the expectant partners, but also it has a really positive impact on the mums as well. And I was going to say, how does this benefit the family dynamic going into the birth and then beyond into parenthood?
If we go back to the phrase we used before, traditional antenatal course, right? And we say that ultimately what we're doing is most courses are getting mum as prepared as possible, right? At least up to pre and probably during birth, right? We'll talk about post in a second. So what we're doing is preparing one parent. Imagine a world where both parents are going into it and both felt confident and both felt, do you know what? It's not mum's job to change nappies. It's not mum's job to worry about night feeds. And it's going to be so much stronger and powerful to think that both parties are going into it saying, do you know what, bring this on. We're ready for it. And we don't have the pressure or the guilt that we're going to make mistakes. We're learning from others. But imagine a journey where both of you are ready to do that, not just one. So it's pretty obvious that it's going to make a massive difference. And in terms of post, I mean, we spend a lot of time on, even if people have a hospital birth, what's the journey like getting your family home? What happens if dads go home on their own on the first 1 or 2 nights, if it is a hospital birth, and go into silence and go home into darkness? Who gets him ready for that? What about bonding? What about bath time? What about feeding? Like we say, mental health. There's a whole section in MANtenatal in part 2 where we dive all into post-birth and we say, baby's here. What now?
I think that's so important as well, because we do talk quite a lot now about the way a woman's status and mental state changes when she becomes a mother. But I don't feel like as a community or a society, we spend enough time really digging into what happens when a man's role changes from an individual to a father, because that in itself is a huge mental upheaval. It comes with its own sort of practical constraints on your time and what you're doing, but it also comes with a lot of stress and anxiety. And in particular, for those that maybe don't have a great example in their own backgrounds or already suffer with stress and anxiety, it can be a really triggering time. And I know you really do focus on the mental health and the well-being of those expectant fathers. What kind of resources and services does MANtenatal offer with that kind of psychological aspect of becoming a father?
Before I go into that, you touched on something that's really important that I didn't mention before as well, is we also make sure that we land with the guys, and it answers your question as well, is we help them have so much empathy for what mum's going through and have a much better understanding and appreciation for what she's going through, not just physically during the birth. And there's some fun things we do there to bring that to life for the guys, to give them a snapshot, only a snapshot. But we also give them that real empathy afterwards, in terms of mum's healing, in terms of what she's going through, so that he can step up, so that he can play an active role. Now, when you look at a traditional course, the thing I'm not okay with is when we send dads out of the room, is when we say, no, this is a female topic. This is the mum. Dads, why don't you go to the pub for tonight, right? We're going to chat about breastfeeding. We're going to chat about pelvic floor. And I say this is not okay, right? It's not okay, because how can your partner have any empathy, let alone awareness or understanding for what you're going through, and be able to look after you and care for you and do everything he can if he's got no clue what it is? So taking the time to help dads understand the female journey is super important for us at MANtenatal. It's not just everything the dads are going to go through. And I think that's a massive part that hopefully starts to answer your question.
You could not be more right. There is a whole section, female gynecological stuff, that is brushed over for the men. And too often, as you say, it's almost let's just have a session with the women. We're going to talk about pelvic floor and leakage. And yeah, no, they desperately need to hear this as well. This is a medical thing that I'm going to need help with.
Exactly right. And one of the things that we also offer the guys, and you can access these anytime you want, is we do a lot of stuff on in our social media on Instagram. So we do MANtenatal midwife Q&As, and we put midwives in the hot seat and we grill them. And we ask them all these different questions that new dads are really, really keen to know the answer to, but maybe just either don't feel confident enough to ask or don't get the opportunity to ask. We do it for you. So like if you go into our Instagram account, you'll see MANtenatal midwife Q&As. And one of my favorite ones is where I take on 3 midwives at the same time. That's there. And we also do MANtenatal mental health discussions as well. Again, all on Instagram. You can go and have a look at them. All that resource is there for the dads anytime they want.
And I think that's brilliant, actually. It's not just the courses, it's not just the lives, it's there, it's on demand, it's in short little nuggets. You can just hone in on the content that you need to target that day, that question, that concern, and take it in your own time, which is perfect, actually, particularly in the fairly busy lives that are about to hit you once your baby comes.
Exactly. And Laura, there's one other thing that I still forgot to... sometimes I take a step back and think, I'm surprised at how many things we've got, right? And the one that I forget, but it's also super important and it's completely free, is we've also got a MANtenatal app, and it's in the App Store. So you can go and get it on iOS or Android. Just literally type in MANtenatal into your local app store and download our app. And there you can access the Discord. There's like a contraction tracker where the dads can start to monitor what mum's going through. We've got routine trackers. All of that's in there. And it's completely and utterly free.
Totally free. Just get on. So yes, MANtenatal in the App Store, that's a brilliant resource actually for everyone to download. In fact, even the mums might like to download that and have a look at some of the content.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Without sort of giving any names, could you give us a few sort of success stories that have really stood out for you in this early stage of your MANtenatal journey?
One of the ones that was really powerful, right? One of the things we talk about MANtenatal is being a dad it's not easy. And it's not all rainbows and butterflies being a parent, right? It's not all magical. There's hard times as well, right? Let's be honest and have authentic conversations. And just touching on that first, rather than just saying, oh yeah, here's all the great highs. I want to be honest with you and say, do you know what? Here was a low, but it turned into something incredible. So there's an official NHS statistic, Laura, that says 1 in 10 new dads will suffer from some type of mental illness. And I'm framing this, there's a success at the end, I promise. 1 in 10 new dads will suffer. And I don't believe the stat. I think the number's higher, right? And there's loads of stuff you can watch, other Instagram things that I've done where I explain why I think the number's higher. But I'm convinced it is. We had a dad reach out to us and say that he's really, really struggling. He's got no motivation. He'd lost his appetite. He was getting cranky at home. He was snapping at mum. He was really, really struggling. But he was bold enough and confident enough to reach out and say, I need help, right? Why it's a success story is the guy was also bold enough to say he wanted to share his story. So he and I, and again, you can access this, we did an Instagram live, and it's archived through our Instagram account. And we literally just had a conversation where the whole world can see it about his journey and what he's struggling with. And he opened up and he showed real vulnerability, but massive strength in that vulnerability. Rather than saying it's taboo, I can't talk about it, he's looking in a camera and saying, do you know what, people judge me, so be it. But the reason it's such a positive story is that was part of his therapy, was being able just to talk and just have someone listen. But the fact he was brave enough to share it, we've had other guys reach out to us and say, do you know what, that video's really helped him. Really helped him. And it's there, right? You can go and watch it. If you need it, it's there for you, right? And in terms of looking at the other end of the spectrum, we've coached some quite famous names, and we might be featuring on a streaming service coming in the coming months, and you might see MANtenatal in that as well. But I think I've signed documents where I can't really talk too much more about it. Maybe even if I went too far now, keep your eye on Netflix over the coming months, and you might see us.
We will watch this space. But I think, yeah, that first story I think is really powerful, that actually it is the reaching out and having someone to talk to, having that, whether it's yourself or the peer-to-peer group, that in itself is a huge step forward for an awful lot of dads and expectant parents, not treating it as a secret or a taboo topic and bottling it all up, but having that outlet to be able to talk to someone is incredibly powerful and a brilliant service. I honestly, round of applause to you for starting this. I think it's an amazing concept and business. I'm all in.
One of my favorite stories I'll quickly share with you very quickly is we also do talks at some of the big baby shows around the UK, right? The kind of leading baby events and baby fairs. And we were there and we were talking on stage, etc. And suddenly this guy and this lady walked up with a little one in a pram, and I recognized his face. And I remembered he'd been on one of our courses, and he brought out his little boy, and he was like, "I want you to hold him. I want you to see the little man that you supported me on my journey." And the wife was like, "Thank you, like what you've done." And suddenly I'm holding this little one. I'm thinking, this is what it's about. We're helping people's lives and doing something in terms of legacy. So that was powerful.
Yeah, you are genuinely helping families to be healthier and mentally more stable and better connected. Yeah, you must feel a great sense of worth when you get that kind of response.
Yeah, those are pretty powerful.
Brilliant. This was just amazing to chat to you. And as I say, I think it's a brilliant service for anyone that this has resonated with in any way. Please do go onto the App Store, download the MANtenatal app, go onto the website, have a look at all of the free resources on Instagram, and consider signing up to one of the courses, because I think there is just incredible value in what you're offering.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time today, Gordon.